what it do, and what it don't do, man. It's your boy Self-Conscious, man, and I have a special update, man. I have a special update, man. I got some more information. I'm finna tell y'all guys what's going on. I'm finna tell y'all guys what's going on right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put y'all up on the little ism, man. I know what's going on with this current situation. I know what's going on. I figured it out. I have figured it out. I know what's going on, man. Y'all come on in the room, hit that like button, share, subscribe, comment, turn on all post notification bells, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend that your boy Self-Conscious is live, man. I peep game. I know what's going on, man. So I got people's reporting my YouTube channel and turning around and trying to mock the videos that I'm doing, bro. That's what peoples are doing. Peoples are literally reporting me to YouTube for a bunch of BS and then turning around and trying to do the same type of videos that I do, man. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro. Hold on. Let me turn some light on this phone. So here we go. We got light. So I got people's, yeah, that's what it is, man. I just got the heads up. What's up, Miss Sweets? I just got the heads up. People's are reporting me to YouTube, right? And then turning around trying to do the same thing that I'm doing. I got the email right here. I can't make it up, bro. It's crazy, man. They didn't give me a name, but I already narrowed it down, bro. I know what's going on. It's crazy, man. Man, this is crazy, man. Like, a lot of people take this shit too serious, bro. A lot of people take this shit too serious, man. You know, it ain't that serious, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do the YouTube because I love to do YouTube. I love to interact with the people, man. I like to speak my piece. I like to speak my mind. But it's not that serious, man. It's really not that serious. You feel what I'm saying? So why would people literally take the time out of their busy schedules and agenda to report me to YouTube for some BS? Come on, man. Come on, man. What are we talking about, man? What are we doing, man? And it's the same people. It's the same people, bro. It's the same people that y'all think real, bro, that ain't real. Like, I mean, bro, I don't know, man. I kind of wish we wasn't smashing YouTube like that with the views, man, because it breeded a lot of jealousy, enviness, and greed, man. It brought a whole lot out of people, man. Peoples are really like literally actually showing their true colors or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm a small YouTuber, man. I don't have 1 million subscribers, bro. I just post content that people like to see. Evidently, people's enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But damn, why? Not only are people reporting me, but they turning around and trying to mock what I do. Boy, that's just a different thing, man. Like, I didn't know it was that serious, man. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is, man. That's why I keep telling y'all, man, we got to work, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, rebuild our platform, get it back to dominance, man. I mean, we good, bro. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, folks just need to stop hating, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to stop talking about Donald Trump for president. I ain't going to stop talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to stop saying what I'm saying about Kamala. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep it because people need to know the truth, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody else telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? So why can't I tell the truth? You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? I got a video for y'all guys that I'm supposed to have to play at 3 o'clock, man. I'm about to go ahead and play this video, man. Just make sure you hit the like button, you sharing, you subscribing, comment. And you definitely got to turn on all post notification bells because, you know, like I tell y'all, the importance with the notification bells, if you don't turn your bells on, you're going to miss out on some great content, bro. So, you know, we're going to rock out like that, man. But, you know, shout out to the ones out there in the YouTube world with these huge platforms that's struggling. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to use us small creators, man, to bounce back. Don't do it like that. That's just not cool, man. That makes people look bad. It makes you not want to interact with people or none of that. And I'm to a point now, like, you know, self-con, just keep doing your thing. Don't even worry about your haters. You know what I'm saying? Let them hate because eventually, you know, the hate gonna turn, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna begin to start, you know, congratulating you or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And big shout outs to all my true Donald Trump supporters, all my Republicans, man. Y'all guys are awesome and amazing, man. Y'all the reason why this platform been smashing the internet like this, bro. Like, there is no other YouTuber right now. I'm talking about probably since YouTube started, you know what I'm saying? Regular YouTubers getting 150, 170,000 views in 30 minutes, bro. People don't put numbers up like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm kicking it with YouTube, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm kicking with the YouTube creators in the community, bro. And listen, they got my back. Because they checking my channel while they like, damn, they keep reporting this, man. But every time they report this, man, we not seeing what they talking about. So what it is, people's are spamming. So what YouTube gonna start doing, when people's report, they gonna check them platforms and channels out, whether they real or not, and they just gonna take them off of YouTube. So I won't have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't get it, man. Why can't we work together? There's enough money for everybody on YouTube, bro. You don't have to be selfish. You don't have to be greedy, bro. Like, we don't have to do that. Greed, like, why are people's greedy, man? You can't take that materialistic stuff with you when you leave. Like, so why be greedy? You know what I'm saying? Don't get mad at me because people's gravitating to my content, bro. Like, damn, just let me do my thing. You doing you, so let me do me. You know what I'm saying? That type of situation, man. We already know Donald Trump going to win. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, man, I told y'all I was going to play this video, man. I got a new Donald Trump video, man. I'm super excited to be able to show this to y'all guys, man. So let me get this thing on the TV. I just want to just tap in and before I started that and share that with y'all.
Jason Greenblatt, who worked for me for a long time. He's a fantastic lawyer.
Let's get it.
Jason.
Let me turn this volume up.
Of U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, Adam Bowler, who was been fantastic. Where's Adam?
Let me set this thing up, man.
Thank you, Adam. Great job during
Let's get this thing
COVID.
right.
Boy, he was a buyer. He was able to do things that nobody could have done. Thank you very much.
Can y'all see that? Give me the thumbs up if you can see that.
Rabbi, you're here. Rabbi, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Give me the thumbs up if you can see the video good.
Ed Russo, who's the greatest environmental scientist in the country. Where's Ed? I love Ed. Ed Russo, he got me all of these permits I had to get so many permits.
Damn right Kamala gonna lose.
He got them. Mr. Lightstone, where's Mr. Lightstone? Where is he? There he is. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
That's great. Thank you.
Tough.
Keith Raboy.
Tough
Keith
angle. All right, I got that.
Keith, how are you? Jacob Halberg, a friend of mine. Thank you, Jacob. A person I watch on television all the time. I'm not supposed to say this. Usually it's the end of your career, but she's beautiful. Elizabeth Pipko. That's the end of my career as a politician. It's true. You do a great job on television.
It's a tough angle. Let's get it right.
All of the things that are.
What about now?
And thank you. Great job you do.
What y'all think about that?
Just
better angle?
People that I recognize and know.
Somebody let me know if that's a better view.
To be joined by 95-year-old Auschwitz survivor Jerry Borsky. Jerry, oh, you look good. Look at you. You look good. Oh, thank you, Jerry. Thank you very much. Friend of mine's here. Ziggy, where are you, Ziggy? What a person. And Mr. Ziggy, he knows himself. But that's some couple. They're friends, and they've been, but he's better because he has to put up with her, and he does it brilliantly. You need a strong man to put up with her. But she's an incredible, actually, truly an incredible woman. As we gather tonight, the Jewish community in the state of Israel are in greater danger than at any time since the Holocaust, greatest I've ever seen. I can't even believe it. At this very moment, the bloodthirsty Iranian regime is reportedly preparing a large-scale assault on Israeli territory. Who would believe this? As Hamas wages a savage war in the south, Hezbollah menaces the north, and the Houthi terrorists attack at sea. In Europe, the streets of Paris, London, and Brussels are overrun by mobs of Hamas supporters changing their jihad slogans in the heart of the Western capital. And in America, the evil anti-Semitism is rampaging all throughout our cities. The Democrat Party, our left-wing media institutions, a certain candidate for the President of the United States, which is hard to believe, and our colleges and universities, they're going loco. They've gone loco. Something's wrong with them. Never seen this. I never thought this could happen. Do you know, just to get off for a second, years ago, my father was a big supporter of Jewish people and Israel. He's not Jewish. He wasn't Jewish, but he was a great friend of a lot of Jewish people. And if you said, let's say 15 years ago, maybe not even that long, anything bad about Israel or Jewish people, you were finished as a politician, right? You were finished. You wouldn't do that, Congressman. You wouldn't do it anyway, but nobody would do it. The most powerful lobby in this country by far was Israel and Jewish people. Today, it's almost like, what happened? What happened? What happened to Schumer? What happened to all these people? Schumer's like a Palestinian, right? It's a Palestinian. You got to remember that, though. It's it's shocking because I grew up where Israel was supported. My father was a builder in Brooklyn, and a lot of Jewish people. That's all he knew. That's all I knew essentially. But we knew Jewish people, and they were great people. And we'd go to many events. I'd go with him, and it was great. The card calling, we would the card callers. We had a man, Harry Waxman. He was a brilliant card caller. What do you mean you're only going to give $100,000? You got to give $1 million. You'd be embarrassed and you'd say, all right, I'll give $1 million. Right? He was the best of all the card callers. But we would go and Federation and all the different events. But the power, Miriam, of this lobby, this powerful, and it was for the good, not for bad, of being Jewish and of Israel. And unfortunately, they're not necessarily the same because you have Jewish people living in New York who really don't support. You look at the New York Times and they do not support Israel. And I don't think they support Jewish people, you want to know the truth. And you wonder where it all came from. But why did it come? And they have to get together. They have to be strong. Because it's never been under attack like this. It's never been under siege like this. But 15 years ago, it was the absolute most powerful. You couldn't have an AOC plus 3. They wouldn't have a chance of being elected anywhere. And today you have AOC and some of these people, and they're pretty violent, and they hate Israel and they hate Jewish people. And you're going to end up winning because you're going to have the president, okay? So you're going to end up winning. But you do have people, and it's amazing. The radical Marxist left and the sympathizers of the radical Islamic terror, who Democrats have imported from all over the world, have united around their hatred of America and their hatred for Israel. They have hatred. The toxic poison of anti-Semitism now courses through the veins of radical Democrat Party. I mean, this is a radical group of people. I never thought I'd see that either. They have gone crazy. And instead of expunging this hatred, Kamala Harris is pandering to it. He wouldn't even meet Bibi. He wouldn't talk to him, didn't want to talk to him, didn't want to mention when they finally were forced to meet. She wouldn't be there. She wouldn't be in Congress, and they were forced to meet. It was like she couldn't stay. She just wanted to get out of the room. You can't have that. She'll let it go. She'll let Israel go. We're here tonight because we believe that this vicious outbreak of militant anti-Semitism is very militant, must be given no quarter, no safe harbor, no place in a civilized society. We must reject it in our schools, reject it in our foreign policy, reject it in our immigration system, and reject it at the ballot box this November. Jewish people have to not vote by habit. You vote by habit for Democrats, and the Democrats are really against you now. If you look at what they're doing, they're absolutely against you. You have to stop. You have to be smart. People can't believe that. I mean, with all of the things, it was so nice that you read them off, but Golan Heights, the Abraham Accords, the biggest thing, I was talking to Sheldon, who had passed away. He said the biggest thing he did was terminating the Iran nuclear deal. The problem is, and then of course Jerusalem and the embassy and the capital of Israel, but the Iran nuclear deal was the biggest thing. The problem is this administration did nothing with it. Iran was broke. They were broke. Nobody could do business with them. I said anybody that does business with them, meaning oil, it's all about oil. Oil is the big money. You know, people make donuts and they make lots of things. It's all about the oil. Oil is the big money. They were broke, and I said to China, I said to every country, I said, any business with Iran, you can't do business with the United States, and I'm going to tariff the hell out of you if you do. And nobody did business. They all believe me 100%. President Xi, all of them. And you know, they had no money, and they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for anyone. You read this toward the end of my term, and nobody had money to do anything. October 7th never would have happened. And then you see in the last 3.5 years, they have $300 billion right now. 300 billion. They're a really rich nation. And because we made the mistake, because of Bush, of attacking Iraq and blowing it out. You know, for thousands of years they were enemies. They were natural enemies under different names, but they were the same size. They were the same power. Thousands of years, and we wiped out one of them in about 2 weeks. And the other one, well, we wiped out Iraq. The other one took over Iraq because basically it's a subsidiary of Iran. It's also got tremendous wealth. It's got 250 billion. So Iran has 550, 600 billion dollars that they made all during the 3.5 years of these two people. And it's hard to believe, but they're a very rich country now, and they're trying to develop nuclear weapons. And not trying, they're very close to getting it. And once they have it, it's you better have the right president. Once they have it, it's going to be very tough negotiating. It's one thing negotiating when they don't have nuclear weapons. It's another thing negotiating when they do, I can tell you, because I did a good job with North Korea. But it's much more difficult, and much more difficult, from a different planet. As our close ally confronts a savage terrorist enemy, hell-bent on extremism, really, and the extermination of the Jewish state, which is what they want. It says it all the time. We will totally eradicate Israel. They say that. The leaders of Iran say, and others in the Middle East say, we must stand with our friend and partner, the state of Israel. We will, strongly. And you'll be okay if you have the right president. You have the wrong president, like her, honestly, you don't have a chance. When you look at the odds, when you look at the map of the Middle East, Israel is a tiny little spot compared to these giant land masses. It's really a tiny spot. I actually said, is there any way of getting more? It's so tiny. It just doesn't look. It's amazing how it can defend itself. But when you look at Iran and you watch their armies today, I was watching their armies. They have hundreds of thousands of people. It's big. It's very big. And we gave it much more power I told them on Iraq, I said, don't go into Iraq and don't bomb it, but if you're going to do it, keep the oil. Well, we did it, and we didn't keep the oil. It used to be in the old days, to the victor belong the spoils. We don't do that. We go and bomb people and leave, and nobody knows what happened. What did we do? Like Afghanistan, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country was Afghanistan. We gave them $85 billion worth of equipment, lost 13 soldiers, but also 47 soldiers were obliterated. No legs, no arms, the face. And such stupid people, that would have never happened. None of that would have ever happened. We wouldn't have inflation. We wouldn't have had the Israeli attack. We wouldn't have the Russian attack on Ukraine. None of it would have happened if we didn't have a bad election. Even though we got 12 million more votes than we did before. We got many more votes than we did. We did much better in 2020 than we did in 2016. But all of that took place in a short period of time. But we must declare that without hesitation that what happened to Paris and happened to London, have you seen what's going on? And what happened to Europe will never happen here. But it is happening. It is happening. They say that going to the Democrat convention next week are going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are opposed to Israel. It's their big problem. That's their thing. And not even believable, but hundreds of thousands they're projecting right now. Hundreds of thousands. That's a lot. We will not let a jihad. There will be no jihad coming to America under Trump. The surge of chaos and bigotry and violence the Jewish community is witnessing today is the direct result of weakness, radicalism, and cowardice of the Harris-Biden administration. Kamala Harris restored funding to the Palestinian Authority, as you know. She was the one that led it. And the UN Relief and Works Agency, which both funnel money directly to Hamas. She's the one that led it. And then you vote for her. I don't understand. You got to talk to your friends. Talk to your people. Ziggy, please. No, do you understand? Ziggy understands. She can't even believe it. But these are the people that give her money. And she's giving money to Hamas, Hezbollah, all of them. She's the one that really pushed for it. She supported removing the Houthis from the list of terrorist organizations, and she got that list taken out. She's the one that really pushed it hard. I remember 5 or 6 weeks ago, everyone thought she was a nothing. Now all of a sudden, because she was the one, they were politically correct. You know, they did that only because they wanted to be politically correct, so nobody went and challenged her. All of a sudden, it's like, she's the greatest ever. She's Margaret Thatcher, liberal version, right? Can you believe it? She was nothing 5 weeks ago. She was the worst vice president ever. She was the worst border czar in history. Now she says, I wasn't the border czar, but she was in charge of the border. She did a horrible job. But a group whose motto includes the words, death to America, death to Israel, and a curse on all Jews. That's what their motto is. Most egregiously of all, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, who doesn't know he's alive, by the way, delivered over $100 billion in sanction relief to Iran. They gave them a lot of money. They gave them $6 billion to a hostage. $6 billion! $6 billion!
All facts gives me
It's unbelievable the amount of money they give for that. You know, when you do that, they're just going to keep kidnapping people, whether it's Russia or them or anybody else. Look what happened in Russia. We got a basketball player. They got the greatest reign of terror. This is the man, the Prince of Death, right? They call him the Prince of Death, Ziggy, right? He's the greatest arms dealer in history, they say. This is what we got. They got him back. I wonder what they're doing with him. Unsurprisingly, Iran is now trying to tilt the election in Kamala's favor very strongly. They're openly fighting for it. Kamala Harris is the candidate of the forces who want to destroy Western civilization, but most particularly Israel and Jewish people. And I'm the candidate of those who want to defend Western civilization, defend Israel, and defend the United States of America. Kamala, I really don't call her Harris because nobody knows who Harris is. You say to people, Harris, who the hell is Harris? Isn't it a weird deal? Nobody knows. Even me, I'm saying Harris. I'm saying, who is that? It's like, oh, Kamala, because at least people know who she is. But Kamala and Biden's weakness and indulgence of Israel's enemies directly enabled the monstrous October 7th attack on Israel. Would have never happened. They knew nothing was going to happen to them with Biden. The deadliest day for Jews since the Holocaust by far. Hamas slaughtered whole families, raped women, and burned Jewish civilizations alive and screaming, and we got to see the same video. It's incredible. And you know, they actually deny it even took place. You have people that deny it ever took place. We do know that, right? They deny the Holocaust, but now you have a modern version denying that October 7th. I've seen it. They say it never took place. A lot of these protesters say, I don't know if they believe it, but they've been brainwashed or something. They deny it ever took place. A lot of people say that, which is pretty amazing, actually. This evil atrocity would never have happened if I was president. Remember that. It never would have happened, and it didn't happen. There was never a threat of it. Nobody ever even thought about it. With us, there was zero chance of such an attack, yet almost before the blood of the October 7th victims was dry, and even as innocent civilians remained hostage in the hands of the terrorists, and they are rough terrorists too, rough. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden began to betray Israel in an effort to appease the Hamas caucus in the radical Democrat Party. From the start, Harris has worked to tie Israel's hands behind its back, demanding an immediate ceasefire, always demanding ceasefire. It's like incredible, like they never saw what happened. That would only give Hamas time to regroup and launch a new October 7th style attack, whether it's in a year or 2 years or 5 months or 10 years, when innocent women and children and the hostages are largely dead. I've been saying it for a long while. If you've been watching over the last few days, Hamas is really being difficult to negotiate with. And the reason is they're dead. Not all, but almost all, a lot. And I watched the way they grabbed that one young girl by the hair and dragged her in, the way they treated her. They're not keeping people around for now 3 years. They're not going to be taking care of them for 3 years, what they've done. And they're probably saying to themselves, we blew it, because everybody wants them to negotiate. They're willing to give them anything. All they do is they want their hostages back, right? They want their hostages back, and Hamas keeps saying, the hostages are gone. They're probably saying to themselves, why did we kill everybody? But I think you're going to have very few people left. You're going to have a lot of them. A lot of people that they think are alive are not going to be alive. These are very savage people. Just last week, Kamala even said she would consider imposing a full arms embargo against Israel, one of the closest allies in the world of the United States. This is unthinkable. She said that. She wanted to impose an arms embargo on them like they did nothing wrong. It's not believable. Under no circumstances should a radical extremist who flirts with an embargo against Israel, a major embargo too, just a complete embargo, Israel to get nothing, ever become commander-in-chief of the U.S. military. You know, once the enemy sees if she was ever in there, they will take advantage of Israel beyond. The biggest strength that Israel has is they know that, like with me or somebody else perhaps, but fewer and fewer people, but they know with me that they have total protection. They will not know that if this other one gets in. They know that, they almost know certainly that they will have no protection, and that it will almost considered a benchmark in the people that she's dealing with. This is a radical left lunatic that we have running for office, and I'm trying to brand her as such, because if I don't, you know, they get a lot of support. They get a lot of money coming in from lots of bad places. So we have to win the election. When I'm back in the Oval Office, I will support Israel's right to win its war on terror. They have to have a right to win the war. Thank you. And I will give Israel the support that it needs to win, but I do want them to win fast. Wouldn't it be nice if they could win fast? And we have to let them win fast. We will restore stability and peace to the Middle East, and we will be sure that it will be peace through strength. You know, we had peace through strength. We had, as you know, Viktor Orban, who's the Prime Minister of Hungary, a very strong person. And they asked him a few months ago, why is it that the world is breaking out? You have October 7th, you have Israel, you have Russia. The whole Middle East looks like it's going to blow up. Europe looks like it's going to blow up. The whole world is going to blow up, and China's flying its bombers all over Taiwan. And he said, it's very simple. President Trump is not there. The only way we're going to solve it is President Trump has to be there. Now, he said something that I wouldn't say. He said they were petrified. They were scared of President Trump. They didn't know what the hell he was going to do. They're not afraid of anybody else. So I wouldn't use that word, but they did have respect for me. I knew them all. And they're tough, and they're sharp, and they're at the top of their game, unlike our people. They're at the top of their game. But it was something that he said. He said that would never happen if Trump were there. They said, how would you solve the problem? He said, if President Trump wins the election, it'll all be solved very quickly. It's true. I feel it's true. I mean, I know what we're doing. To our enemies around the world, we want our hostages back, and they better be back before I assume office. Too bad. Too bad, because so many are gone. You know that. I think most of the people in this room. I watched some of the mothers in Israel saying, "My son, my son," but I haven't heard, in 2 years. They have no idea. They're not going to get a good answer. You understand that? It's a very, very bad situation. In the wake of the October 7th attacks, we've also seen the scourge of anti-Semitism rearing its head right here at home, and you've seen that loud and clear. Jews have been beaten and bear-maced. You know what bear-maced is? On their way to a synagogue in Los Angeles. Nobody's seen anything like this. What's going on now is exactly what was going on before the Holocaust. Exactly. Jewish American businesses have been vandalized, and we've heard chants of death to Israel and death to America, and we've seen the prominent liberals repeat genocidal slogans from the river to the sea. That's not a good slogan. People thought, oh, what does that mean? That is not a good slogan. That's a really bad slogan. Instead of aggressively confronting these venomous anti-Semites in her party, Kamala Harris has maneuvered for their support. She said the radical demonstrators on college campuses were, quote, showing a human emotion. Oh, that's wonderful, isn't it? Human emotion. When a mob of terror supporters in Washington, D.C. tore down the American flag in front of the Union Station last month, set it on fire, and hoisted the Palestinian flag while assaulting police officers and spray painting magnificent works of art, saying Hamas is coming. On a public monument, the Harris-Biden administration dropped all charges against almost every single one of them. I think every single one, but almost every single one of them. When you spray paint over these magnificent works of art, red paint on limestone, it never. What I was best at is building. When you hit limestone, it's very porous stone, beautiful stone, but very porous. You'll see that in 100 years. You're going to see that. It goes deep into it. You're never going to take it out. And nothing happened to them. Kamala has long embraced the extremists in her party because she's one of them. She's an extremist, not a smart one. She's not a smart person, but she's an extremist. She defended the infamous anti-Semite Ilhan Omar, beautiful person, and fought to keep her on the powerful Foreign Affairs Committee. I mean, she's on the Foreign Affairs Committee, all these other guys are afraid to act because of it. When a college student accused Israel of ethnic genocide, Kamala said that she was glad that the student made that comment. She was very happy that she actually said this. Now she'll be denying everything, although I don't think she will, because they do have big numbers. They probably have bigger numbers than you have, we have. Likewise, her running mate, Tim Walz, he's worse. He's bad, not as bad as her, has praised a Hitler-supporting radical Muslim imam named Azad Zaman, calling him a master teacher. He's a master teacher. Say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby.
We're live from Georgia, a key battleground state in the race for the White House. In just moments, the current U.S. president will debate the former U.S. president as their party's presumptive nominees, a first in American history. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world to our studios in Atlanta. This is the CNN presidential debate.
This debate is being produced by CNN and is coming to you live on CNN, CNN International, CNN.com, CNN Max, and CNN Espanol. This is a pivotal moment between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in their rematch for the nation's highest office. Each will make his case to the American people with just over 4 months until Election Day. Good evening, I'm Dana Bash, anchor of CNN's Inside Politics and co-anchor of State of the Union.
I'm Dick Tapper, anchor of CNN's The Lead and co-anchor of State of the Union. Dana and I will co-moderate this evening. Our job is to facilitate a debate between the two candidates tonight. Before we introduce them, we want to share the rules of the debate with the audience at home. Former President Trump will be on the left side of the screen. President Biden will be appearing on the right. A coin toss determines their positions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up, clarification, or response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned on and his opponent's microphone will be turned off. Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home. At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio audience tonight. Pre-written notes, props, or contact with campaign staff are not permitted during the debate. By accepting our invitation to debate, both candidates and their campaigns agreed to accept these rules.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
It's your business.
And please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach in your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out in a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen tables, the things weren't able to be met during the month. It was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they include beginning next year. In a situation and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you, President Biden.
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that we found ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised the deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant. And the military, you know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still found ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have any, this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. Now, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out, he did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent, all of the things he's done. We've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country. And I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they in fact pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Trump.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Tana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, and getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical, because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they were all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states. Let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that. But here's the deal: there's a lot of young women are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have, everybody wanted it brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I support Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last, no politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board, at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, put them in cages, making sure the families are separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. All he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation, because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in
Thank you, President
caravans.
Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed three, and his administration, killed an Al-Qaeda person come in and his administration, killed three American soldiers. That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorists ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people. That's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating, he's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed three people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the two greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying, and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these three incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast, because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half, because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in. And it's a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And he opposed, his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker, you're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taking better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
All right, thank you so much.
Let's move to the topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its 3rd year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, a president that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated. And by the way, we left people behind too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
Nowadays, shipping expectations.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it. Recently, not when he was president. They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want, do whatever you want. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I really give a very big hello to Pennsylvania. It's great to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, which is what you are. Think of this. Who would believe this? 80 days from now, we are going to defeat a communist known as Kamala Harris. Most radical left person ever to run for office. This is not what this country needs. We've had enough of them. We're going to win back the White House, and we're going to take back our country. Kamala Harris is a super left liberal who ruined San Francisco, ruined California, and delivered a badly broken economy, a badly broken border, which gave us a dangerous world of chaos, death, and destruction. Just take a look at what's happening today. We were a respected country. Now the whole world laughs at us. We're a bunch of foolish people to have allowed this to happen, but we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back very fast. We'll close up the borders. We'll drill, baby, drill. We're going to do things that are going to be very good. Very good, very fast. It'll happen very quickly. But she breaks everything that she touches, but soon we're going to fix every single problem. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, Crooked Joe, what happened to Biden? I was running against Biden. All of a sudden I'm running against somebody else. It's true. You know, it's interesting. I said, who am I running against? Harris. I said, who the hell is Harris? You don't know. Who the hell is Harris? You know, she was the first one out last time. She was the first one to lose, and now all of a sudden she's running. She never got a vote. They are a threat to democracy. Remember that. Starting the day I take the oath of office, I will rapidly drive prices down, and we will make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable again. Under Kamala Harris and Crooked Joe Biden, the American dream was dead, and it is dead. It's dead as a doornail. They'll never bring it back unless we win. If we win, we're going to have the American dream alive, all for your beautiful children, your grandchildren. We'll have the American dream. We'll be back with us. Her radical liberal policies, of course, horrific inflation, decimated the middle class and gutted the finances of millions of American families. And you know what I'm talking about, because everybody in this room has been devastated by what they've done. They have no idea. They're grossly incompetent people. Real incomes are down by over $2,000 a year. Think of that. Minimum. And ours, up 5 times that amount, more than 5 times that amount. Her price hikes have cost the typical household a total of $28,000, and that's called the Kamala Harris inflation tax. She was there for everything. You know, when she sits and complains, hey, look, Joe Biden hates her, okay? Hates her. You don't mind if I go off teleprompter for a second, do you? Joe Biden hates her. This was an overthrow of a president. This was an overthrow. They went out, you know, I spent $100 million fighting Joe Biden. They told him he couldn't win. His debate performance wasn't the best ever. But they said mine was the best ever. But they said his debate performance wasn't. I look forward to debating her, by the way. She'll be easier. She'll be easier than him. Her policies are so bad. Making it the hard way is for us the right way. It's one thing to have an idea that is exciting and you do it in your kitchen. It's something else entirely to take that very simple idea. Her policy, remember, her father was a Marxist economic professor. He was a Marxist, an avowed Marxist. This is not what we want in this country. And think of it, does anyone here feel richer under Kamala Harris and Crooked Joe? Is anything less expensive under Kamala Harris or Crooked Joe? No, it's been devastating. Inflation has been devastating under this group of people that have no idea what the hell they're doing. Are you better off with Kamala and Biden than you were under President Donald J. Trump? I don't think so. You know, they do polls and this stuff, and I'm at like 93%. I said, so why are we having an election? They didn't have an election. Why are we having an election? How would you like to be Biden? He's working, he's spending money, he's trying. They wanted to have a debate. That's the thing that started it all. You know, if I didn't debate him, he'd still be running right now. But I believe she will be easier to beat than him because she's a truly radical left lunatic. And with him, he never really believed it. Of course, I don't know if he knew anything. I'm not sure. But he didn't really believe it. She totally believes it. She wants to destroy our country. With 4 more years of Kamala, your finances will never recover. They will only get worse. They're only going to get worse. The stock market, and you have some of the most brilliant people on Wall Street saying this, the stock market is only up because they think I'm going to win. And if we don't win, according to many people, including one of the greatest Wall Street prognosticators named Scott Bessent. Has anyone heard of him? One of the most brilliant guys on Wall Street. If I don't win, you will have a 1929 style depression. Enjoy it. I believe that. I believe that. I believe it. A lot of people believe it. So we're not going to give them the chance, okay? We're not going to give them. And your state's going to be ruined anyway. She's totally anti-fracking. She's been anti-fracking and anti-drilling, anti-oil and gas from practically the day she was born. All of a sudden, a couple of months ago, she said, oh, I'd love to have fracking. Now, she won't have fracking. Vote Trump, and your incomes will soar, your savings will grow, young people will be able to afford a home, and we will bring back the American dream bigger. That we are going to bring it back. Bigger, better. Front row Joe. Bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. We're going to bring it back. Look at all these front row Joes over here. They've only been, you know, we have a couple of groups here. They're at about 222 events. Front row Joe, stand up, wave your hands. You guys are great. Patriots. But I have another group from a place called North Carolina. Has anybody ever heard of North? We love North Carolina. The beautiful ladies over there. This is number, what? 217. So this is number 217. And supposedly, they're happily married. How the hell does that work? Look at them. They're beautiful, and oh, there's a husband. Are you a husband? Who are you married to, husband? Oh, that was a wise choice. Beautiful, very nice. How do you handle it, right? How do you handle it? But they're great women, and they've been with us from the very beginning. They were with us from the beginning in 2016, when we had the 4 greatest years this country has ever had. They were with us then. Thank you very much. North Carolina. We're doing well in North Carolina. Thank you, darling. It's nice to not have to travel to California and other places, right? Yesterday, Kamala laid out her so-called economic plan. She says she's going to lower the cost of food and housing starting on day one. But day one for Kamala was 3.5 years ago. So why didn't she do it then? So this is day 1305. We're at 1305. So why isn't she doing it now? Why doesn't she get away from her nice little place with her wonderful husband, go to Washington and do it now? You could do it right now. Why does she go to the convention? Because it's a rigged convention, obviously. She got no votes. He had 14, Sleepy Joe had 14 million votes. She got no votes. She failed. She was the first one out. She failed. She never got to Iowa. Great state, Iowa. We're going to win it big. The farmers love Trump, and I love the farmers. But she never got to Iowa. She was the first one to quit, and now she's running for president. I don't know. Somebody's going to have to explain our system to our many enemies all around the world. They're watching this saying, this place doesn't make a lot of sense anymore. Everything Kamala Harris says in her speeches is a lie. She gets up and just lies. I was watching her yesterday. She talked about all the taxes I was going to raise. I never said that. I'm lowering taxes. Yesterday she got up. She started ranting and raving that Donald Trump wants to put a tax on gasoline, a tax on food, a tax on medication, a tax on clothing, a tax on every single thing that was ever invented. Your hat he's going to tax. Your shirt he's going to tax. He's going to tax your wife. He's going to tax your husband. And I'm saying, I never said any of that.
Being unapologetically myself is the most empowering thing to feel, and fashion and sports both.
They make it up. Here's the truth. Kamala wants to put massive taxes on American jobs and American industries. I want to cut taxes on Americans while putting tariffs on China and foreign countries to bring our jobs back home to Pennsylvania and to take in billions and billions of dollars. I'm the only one that ever took in any money from China. China was really hitting us hard, ripping us apart. That means many, many presidents. And what happened is I put a tariff on, then I raised the tariff. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. And Biden can't, it's so much money. He's trying to rescind it for a couple of reasons. Number one, he got a lot of money from China. Didn't he get 3.5 million, 4 million? That they know of. But he got a lot more than that. His family made a lot of money with China. He wants to get rid of the tariff, but he can't because there's so much money. They can't do anything with the budget. A tariff is a tax on a foreign country. That's the way it is, whether you like it or not. A lot of people like to say, oh, it's a tax on us. No. It's a tax on a foreign country. It's a tax on a country that's ripping us off and stealing our jobs. And it's a tax that doesn't affect our country. And you can see hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs on other countries also. I took in hundreds of billions and nothing happened to us. They make less money. And you know what? Our jobs come back because there's no tax if they build their factory in Pennsylvania. There's no tax if they build their factory in the United States. So what do? In order to avoid paying the tax, they say, let's build a place over here. No tax. Come on over. We love it. Just hire our people. That's all you have to do. It's very simple. As we speak, and this really goes to Michigan more than you, but I look at Michigan and South Carolina, a lot of other places that do the auto stuff, and they are building some of the biggest auto factories in the world right now in Mexico, right off our border. They think they're going to make cars, not pay any tax, and sell those cars into the United States. Not going to happen, not with me. They're building some of the biggest auto plants in the world. And you know who owns those auto plants? They're built, they're made, and being built in Mexico. You know who owns them? China owns them. China's very smart. I had a good relationship with President Xi. When COVID came, that was the end of that relationship. But but I had a very good relationship. But we took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. Think of it, Bush, Barack Hussein. Did you ever hear of Barack Hussein Obama? Have you heard of him? There are those that think he is currently running the country. Does anybody think? I don't know. I don't know that that's true. We know it's not Biden. Every attack Kamala makes on us is a fabricated, it's a lie. She's sort of a bad storyteller. She doesn't know how to tell a story very well, but she gets caught. She gets caught up in her own words. She's not a very good wordsmith, they say. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to have a debate at some point. They gave me the worst network to me is ABC. Worse than NBC, worse than CBS, worse than CNN. The home of George Slopadopoulos, a nasty guy. I said, George, I've had you up to here. So, he's a nasty guy, the hatred. And yet when he interviews Biden, like 2 weeks ago, he interviewed Biden, it was like the nicest interview. What flavor ice cream do you like? George, I tend to like vanilla very much. With me, they get into a lot of subjects that a lot of people don't like talking about. But ABC's the worst. And that seems because they won't do it on Fox. They've turned down the Fox. You know, I've approved 3 debates. They've approved 1. The only one they've approved was their network. And now it came out in the New York Times, of all places, that the head of the news and the head of the whole thing practically is Kamala and her husband, lovely husband, best friend. Her and her husband are best friends with Kamala and her husband. And I'm supposed to do the debate. But you know, with Biden, they thought I wouldn't do it. So they offered me something that I couldn't accept. They said, the debate is at CNN in front of no audience. So far I'm 0 for 2. And see, they didn't want to do the debate. That would have been a good idea if they didn't do it. But I was going to accept anything. And I guess we'll do it here too, right? We'll accept anything, because otherwise she's not going to debate. She doesn't want to debate. But they said CNN and no audience, and we want to have you sit down. I objected to that. They wanted us sitting behind a desk. I said, give me a break. We have to at least stand for the American public. Wouldn't that be nice? So that was the only thing. And I would have done it if they insisted. No, I would have sat down if they insisted, but I thought it was sort of a little strange. But I had Dana Bash and I had Fake Tapper. But I have to tell you, they were very fair. I really thought they were very fair. So, Jake and nobody knows how to say her first name. Is it Dana or Dana? Nobody knows. It's been going on for 20 years. She's been around a long time. Is it Dana or Dana? And now the fake news will say, Trump didn't know how to pronounce her first name. She doesn't know how to pronounce it. But look, Dana and Jake, I used to call him Fake Tapper. Now I call him Jake Tapper because he treated us very fairly, and so did Dana. Treat me very fairly. I think it was, just about neutral. But he kept saying, he gave very short answers because he wasn't really doing too well. And I kept saying, I'll take it. But what happened? Sir, you have 92 seconds left. This is not what he wanted to hear. Right, David? They said, you have 92 seconds left. Going to be your next senator, I'll tell you. David McClure. I hope you can vote for him. I hope you vote for him. I hope you vote for him. He's a great gentleman, great hero, actually, in many ways. He's a great guy. But, so they gave me this thing, and they assumed I was going to turn it down. So I have the wrong network, I have the wrong anchors. I have no audience. I like an audience. I love people, It's oftentimes a mistake. Everything was wrong. So what we'll do is we'll offer him this thing that he can't accept, he won't accept it, and then we'll say, Trump didn't accept the debate. He's afraid to negotiate against Biden because Biden's so sharp. He's so sharp. He's sharp like a razor. So, but I surprised them. I said, I'll take it. I'll take it. And people said, are you crazy? I said, look, it's the only way you're going to debate. If we do anything else, they're not going to accept it. And these people are the same way. They offered me, we were supposed to have Fox on September 4th. And they said, no, I accepted it. I don't even know what's going to happen because I've accepted it. They haven't. So maybe they show up, maybe they don't. But I think it's sort of on for September 4th, but I don't think they're going to come. And then we go and we do the debate with ABC. ABC, again, I call it ABC fake news. So bad. They're so bad. They're so dishonest, in my opinion, very dishonest people. But I find them to be the worst. And I'm a professional at this, you know, because I watch who treats me the worst. Now, NBC is horrible. CBS is horrible. They're all horrible. These are horrible human beings. But who treats me the worst? ABC fake news treats me the worst. And that's where they want it, where her best friend, it just came out the other day, nobody told anybody about this, is the head of the whole deal, right? But I'll probably say, I'll take it. Because you know what? They're not gonna do a debate. But just remember, these are phony, fake, disgusting people that hate our country. Remember that. And also remember that every attack that we make on Kamala is something that she said on tape or something that she's actually done. You know, all of these attacks are things because she said all of it. She said, I don't want fracking in Pennsylvania. She said it hundreds of times. I don't want it anywhere. Then a couple of months ago, when the polls are showing that she's getting clobbered, well, actually, nobody actually thought they were politically correct. They wanted to be politically correct because they wanted, you know, they had 11 different people and they put her name in to be number 12 and they had a vote. She came in last. So she picked somebody. Think of it. How about the guy she picked? How bad is he? Right? How bad is that guy? David, where did these people come from? You know, he recently signed a bill in a state that I love, but a state that hasn't been won by a Republican because it's a corrupt state. But the people are not corrupt. The people are great. Since 1972 hasn't been won. Think of that. And I thought we won it twice. I said, there's no way we lose Minnesota. But he signed a bill for all young men's bathrooms and men's bathrooms have to be equipped with a tampon selling machine. And she turned down your governor. By the way, just so you understand, I know some of you probably like him. I don't think he's a good person. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's good. But they turned him down because he's Jewish, okay? That's why they turned him down. Now, we can be politically correct and not say that. I could say, well, they turned him down for various reasons. No, no. They turned him down because he's Jewish. That's why they turned him down. And I'll tell you this, any Jewish person that votes for her or a Democrat has to go out and have their head examined. Because if you see what's happening with Israel and Jewish people right now, there has never been a more dangerous time since the Holocaust.
A new adventure calls for a new look. Luckily, Maverick Adventure Gear has you covered. Check out shop.maverick.com to explore our great apparel and accessories. You'll find stylish t-shirts, jackets, bags, and more. Maverick, adventure's first stop.
We represent different countries,
compete in different sports,
Come from different backgrounds,
we have different experiences,
different perspectives,
different passions,
but we all share the same planet.
the same environment, and the same desire to do all we can to protect and preserve it.
to create a brighter, more sustainable future for everyone.
In this regard, we're all on the same team.
future should be in the hands of the next generation.
Not in the balance.
Join us in pushing for change.
If you happen to be Jewish in America, there's never been anything like it. I'm seeing things I can't even believe it. And we want to bring about unity and peace and everything else. It looks like they're going to have nothing but riots out there in Chicago. It's really a sad thing, but they turned him down for that reason, and they turned him down for a couple of other reasons too. But the primary reason was that he's Jewish. And you don't think I know what goes on in their campaign? I know it well. I know it very well. She's a nation wrecker who is more liberal than Crazy Bernie Sanders. You know Crazy Bernie? He's pretty bad, right? She is substantially more radicalized than Crazy Bernie. You cannot have her as your president. She ruined San Francisco. She ruined the state of California. You know, she was the district attorney and she was the attorney general of the state. I heard the other day, and this isn't anything, I'm just saying, they'll say he was rambling. I don't ramble. I'm a really smart guy, you know, really smart. I don't ramble. But the other day, anytime I hit too hard, they say he was rambling. Rambling? You know, I get up and I make a speech. I go for sometimes 2 hours, 2.5 hours, because, you know, people are waiting outside for 3 days, 4 days. You guys were waiting out there for a long time. Front row Joes are waiting out. I don't know how you guys do it. And I feel I have an obligation to speak and speak in a certain way and speak a little bit longer. You know, how would you like it? A guy's waiting with his family for 3.5, 4 days. They have a tent, and the tent is set up. They have hundreds of them, and they wait. And then I walk in, speak for 15 minutes, and leave. I don't know, somehow. Would that be okay, North Carolina? I don't think so, right? They want me to speak all day. You know, when I leave, I did one 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I'm leaving, and they're screaming, "No, sir, more. We want to hear more." I said, I can't speak more. What the hell else am I going to say? Our country's going to hell. That's all I can say. We're a nation in decline. You know, we were talking about that before. My phrases are copied so much, right? I use the term, oftentimes in closing, we are a nation in decline. We are a failed nation. And I think it's a beautiful phrase, although I don't like the topic very much. I don't like what it represents, but there's a certain beauty. All of a sudden, all of these candidates, including Republicans, are saying we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. And I say, you know, what the hell do they have to copy me for, right? But they have a lot of words that they copy. Many of our words, we were in the plane before coming in, and our people said, we went through a list. I think we're going to release a list. Let's release it. But so many of our phrases they copy. That should be a nice thing, not an insult. But Crazy Bernie Sanders has said a lot of things, and one of the things he's arguing about is who's more liberal. And after about 2 minutes, he gave up. He said, this woman is nuts. Look, people say, be nice. Have you heard her laugh? That is the laugh of a crazy person. That is the laugh of a crazy. It's the laugh of a lunatic. Have you heard it? You know, they prohibited her. They prohibited her for laughing. I've been waiting for her to laugh, because as soon as she laughs, the election's over. But we're winning by a lot in Pennsylvania. I think the fracking got her. The fracking. But she has been prohibited from laughing. You know, she used to do an interview. She, who the hell laughs at an interview like that? You know, I'm interviewed all the time. I may smile. I mean, they're asking you questions about things that it's not like a comedy club. And she'd break out. That's one of the reasons she refuses to do interviews, I think, because she laughs. It's so horrible. No, it's so horrible. But
time, and modern pioneers forged their own roads. One overlander stands apart, an epic beast ready to run, steered by imagination, built for the unknown, destined to create stories that live forever. The ultimate off-road overlanding vehicle, 20 years in the making. With dirt-biting 44-inch jaws on massive beadlock rims, massive range for tireless rolling. Navigate from anywhere with Starlink-ready tech and harness the sunlight to power endless adventures. Storyteller GXP admit, the future is about to become boundless. Epic Week, coming to you August 5th.
You know, she hasn't done an interview like in 30 days or something like that. And I do one every day. If I pass, I just did one backstage. With a very good reporter. But you're supposed to, don't you sort of have an obligation? You know, you're running. They're going to try, this is her form of the basement. Now, the basement for him was good because, you know, they had COVID. They didn't want him to catch COVID. He ended up catching it anyway. But, you know, it's a very dishonest, the whole system is very dishonest. But she should be at least talking to the press. She hasn't done anything. But she's prohibited from laughing. They said, your laugh is horrible. Never laugh, ever. So she's walking around with her mouth like almost sealed shut. She won't laugh. I want her to laugh. And then we'll just claim victory. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you very much. But we have a little video that we just put up. Would you like to see it? Go ahead, just put it.
Yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing and take it seriously. As President of the United States, I am prepared to get rid of the filibuster to pass a great deal. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that. But would you support changing the dietary guidelines? Yes. You know, the food pyramid. What would people
Yes.
Yes. Reduce red meat specifically.
Yes, I would. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Where do you stand on defund the police?
This whole movement is about rightly saying we need to take a look at these budgets.
Harris asserted that ICE is perceived as the modern-day Ku Klux Klan.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
I see no.
Are you aware that there's a
That puts
perception?
ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me? I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
And yeah, I am radical. We need to get radical about what we are doing.
Now, over the years, and right up until the present, she wanted to openly defund the police. How do you like that? In Minnesota, when they were burning down the state, and in particular, Minneapolis, they were burning it down. Remember the CNN fake reporter? He got up, the one with the nice shaved head. He got up. This is a peaceful rally. This is a rally of love. Behind him, the entire city was burning. It looked like World War II, right? And by the way, speaking of World War II, she will bring us into World War III, and it'll be a war. That'll be a war like never before because of the weaponry. No more army tanks going back and forth shooting. We've left a lot of our, I rebuilt the entire military, and we left a lot of that in a place called Afghanistan, the billions and billions of dollars we left it. In the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, we left billions of dollars, 13 great soldiers killed, think of it, left many hostages, many people have been left behind. But think of what happened there. We got out in disgrace. We should have gotten out with strength. I was getting out. We would have been out even sooner, but strength, dignity, we would have kept Bagram, the big air base. You know who occupies Bagram right now? China, because it was 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons, not because of Afghanistan, but because of China. But China occupies it right now. Thank you very much, President Xi. Enjoy our billions of dollars of construction that took place years ago. They spent billions of dollars many years ago. 1 hour away, think of that, where they make their nuclear weapons. It's so embarrassing, the stupidity of the people that have run our country, but we did things the opposite way. We were very smart, we were very respected, we were a respected country that respected your leader, your elected leader. But remember this, Viktor Orban of Hungary, Prime Minister of Hungary, they asked him pretty recently, they said, what's going on? The world is coming to an end. He said, if you want to stop it, re-elect the United States, re-elect Donald Trump, because when he was there, we didn't have any problems. We didn't have problems. Russia wouldn't have happened with Ukraine. Israel would have never been attacked on October 7th, never. You know, Iran was broke. Iran was broke. They had no money. I told China, you buy oil from them, you can't deal with us. I told that to many countries, anybody that dealt there, so they didn't buy oil. Oil's the whole thing, the big deal. And they were broke. Now they have $300 billion. Think of it. They have $300 billion now, and they have plenty of money.
Don't you agree we need voter ID and clean election rolls? Well, your Judicial Watch is in federal court right now fighting to make sure your elections will be fair and honest. Follow Judicial Watch on YouTube.
We're run by stupid people, and we have to change it, or we're not going to have a country left. We're not going to have... We didn't let countries take advantage of us. France was going to charge our corporations tremendous amounts of money for doing business in France. You know this, David. David is very familiar with what happened. And I went to my people, I said, tell them we're not going to put up with it. They're not going to charge our companies because we want our companies to do well so they can employ people. It's sort of simple. I didn't even like a lot of the companies that they were dealing with. I should have said, oh, great, let them charge. What the hell do I care? But they're American companies. And I said to Emmanuel Macron, I said, call him, because my people failed to make a deal. I said, you make a deal, you have 1 week, come see me. At the end of a week, they came to see me. Good people, smart people, very smart people. Secretary of Treasury, smart guy, Mnuchin, others. They came back to see me. Sir, we're not able to make a deal. They're going to charge our companies a tax. I said, no, they're not going to do it. You don't understand. They're not going to do it. Come back and see me. You have 1 more day. They came back. Sir, they won't do it. They've already passed it in their so-called legislature. We're not going to do it. They're not going to be able to stop it, sir. I said, we'll stop it. Get Emmanuel Macron on the phone. I got him on the phone. Emmanuel, how are you? So nice to talk. Oh, Donald, it is so nice to speak. He's beautiful. I wish I had his accent. I would have been president 20 years ago. But I said, Emmanuel, I understand you're charging our companies a lot of money. Oh, well, you know, this has been in the works for many years, Donald. And yes, it is done. It is really done. There's nothing we can do about it. I said, okay, good. Emmanuel, here's the story. If you don't get rid of that tax within 24 hours, starting on Monday morning, it was a Friday, I'm going to charge every bottle of wine and champagne that you send into our country. I'm going to charge you a tariff of 100% on every bottle, and you will not be sending too many bottles of champagne and wine. And he said, Donald, that is not fair. That is not fair. I said, no, it's not fair for you to be charging American companies to do business in your country. No, it's not fair, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, get back to me in 5 minutes and let me know. He called me back in 2 minutes. He said, Donald, we have decided that we will not be charging you any taxes for the American company. I did so many of them. I I did so many. I could stand up here all day and tell you different stories.